What is up, guys? Welcome to my review for Arrow Season 6, Episode 17, titled Brothers in Arms. And this episode actually surprised me, because going off of last episode and the trailer, it seemed like the only reason that Diggle was mad at Oliver is because he wanted the title of the Green Arrow back, which really came out of nowhere, and it was really out of character. And the fact is, they actually addressed that in this episode. Oliver literally said, "That's kind of out of character for you. That's kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, but not really, because people are actually characters in real life, so it's not really." But I said it was out of character. Oliver said it was out of character, and they really addressed that. And the fact is that that's not really the reason they were arguing. Diggle was not angry over the Green Arrow suit. That was just a part of it. He was really angry at Oliver, really arguing because Oliver's leadership skills have really gone down the drain, because he's been splitting his time between that, being married to Felicity, raising William, and being the mayor, which is what Diggle's side was, and that was so much deeper than just wanting the Green Arrow suit back. So I really appreciated that part of the story. I like the fact that it was more than just he wanted the suit back and that was it. And also, they didn't just show Diggle's side, they also showed Oliver's side. Oliver's side was really fleshed out as well in the whole argument scene, which I will talk about in a minute. His side, which was like Diggle, like Diaz came to control under Diggle's watch, and stuff like that. So they really portray each side really well. They set up Oliver's side throughout the entire season, and the entire 6 seasons, so you just naturally side with him. But then Diggle brought up some arguments that actually made sense. Like I said, Oliver's leadership skills have not really gone well. The city is bankrupt, Diaz is under control, and the team is broken up. So both sides were actually given some leeway to them, not leeway, some weight to them. Both sides. Like Oliver, not much in the actual episode, but you just naturally side with him because he's the main character. Diggle had to be given some points. You have to give some argument points or whatever to him, so that you side with him over Oliver or equally. I kind of sided with Oliver still because he is the main character, but Diggle did bring up some good points, so that was actually done really well. So this argument between Diggle and Oliver was one of the most intense moments of the season, probably the most intense moment. It was so intense. It was so well acted between the actors. There was like one moment from David Ramsey that was a little cheesy, but like the rest of it was amazing. The actors just really were top notch. Obviously, except for that one moment, it was really like one split second where it was a little cheesy, but everything else obviously was amazing. Stephen Amell and both Stephen Amell and David Ramsey knocked it out of the park in this scene. It was really personal and emotional between the characters. They were really hitting hard. Like Diggle saying that William's mother is dead because of Oliver, and then Oliver saying that Diggle trail of bodies includes his brother. They were really going for the throat. It was intense and really well acted by both actors. I really appreciate this scene. I love it in scenes when actors just go all out and they scream at other actors. Like that one scene in season 4, which I know I'm praising a scene in season 4. It's probably the best scene in season 4. It's not really a high bar, but it is the best scene in season 4 when Oliver is screaming at Quentin. And there's another scene in season 5 when Oliver was screaming at Adrian Chase when he said, "I wanted to and I liked it." Those scenes are the best and most well acted scenes in the show, and this has got to be up there as one of the best. It's amazing for both actors, and it led to a fight scene which wasn't as good as the actual argument, but it was still really good because each punch that they were punching at each other really meant something. It was really personal and emotional, and the punches just felt harder than they usually do, because these two people have been friends for 6 years, and now they're fighting each other, and they're getting really personal and going for the throat. So this fight scene, even though it wasn't really just punching each other and that's it, it actually meant a lot more than that. So it didn't need to be well choreographed or anything, and it kind of makes sense that they were kind of holding back on their fighting ability and just straight out brawling. So I really like this I think 5 or 6 minutes of fighting between the characters, arguing and fighting. I loved those minutes, and it really elevated the episode for me. I would have liked it if the fight scene was like a minute longer, because the fight scene started and then it cut to the commercials. It came back and it was on for like 45 seconds, and that's it. So I would have preferred it a little longer, but still it was great because each punch meant so much and the argument was amazing. So I really like these scenes. And all of this just led to Diggle leaving the team, which just leaves Oliver and Felicity. And we see in the trailer for the next episode, it might be just Oliver after the next episode. And the reason they're doing this is just probably to make Oliver alone, either because the fans have wanted it for a while because they said that he was better when he was alone in season 1, but that's actually not true. He's never been alone. He was Green Arrow by himself, or the Hood or the Arrow, doesn't really matter, for like 1 or like 3 episodes in season 1, and the rest of the season he was with Diggle and Felicity at the same time. And in season 2 he had also the Canary and Roy for a little bit, so he was never alone as a character on this crusade. So I never really got the wanting for him to be alone, but I think the real reason they're making him alone without the entirety of his team is just to make the villain more threatening, because he hasn't really been set up well as a villain, which is why I think they should have focused more on that than breaking up the team and making the team weaker. They focused more on making the team weaker than making the villain stronger in terms of how threatening he is. So that is not, I don't think that was done well in that respect, but at least they're doing something, because if the team was together, if Oliver, Diggle, Felicity, Mr. Terrific, Black Canary, and Wild Dog went up against Ricardo Diaz, Anatoly, and presumably Black Siren, it wouldn't really be a fair fight in the slightest. But if it's just Oliver versus Ricardo Diaz's entire organization, which I probably should have mentioned when he's fighting Team Arrow, but even then, people on like goons like that never have a fight in anything. They don't do anything usually, so that doesn't really matter. It's just the main characters that do, the characters that actually have names that do something at all on this show, and really any show. So that wouldn't really be a fair fight. But Oliver himself versus the entire organization and Ricardo Diaz, Anatoly, and presumably Black Siren, it's not more of a fair fight, but it is more of a challenging fight for the characters. So I think that's the main reason they're doing this. They're breaking up the team. They're having him go by himself. Right now it's just him and Felicity. And Quentin, I think Quentin's kind of on the team. He's part-time, but it looks like Felicity is going to leave in the next episode for a little bit. And it looks like Quentin, I don't know, he's part-time anyway. So it's just Oliver by himself, which that was not set up well within the season. But within this episode it actually was, because Diggle leaving the team actually made sense for the character. Speaking of Ricardo Diaz, he was in this episode as well, and yet again, he didn't get any character development at all, which really annoys me. We have like only 6 or 7 episodes left in the season, and the fact that this character has gotten barely any character development at this point, it scares me to how the season will end. I don't think this villain will be that compelling in the slightest. Every other villain up until now, except for like Ra's al Ghul, I think, has gotten character development, which has worked for the most part. It didn't really work for Damien Dark, but it worked for Malcolm Merlyn really well, Deathstroke incredibly well, and Adrian Chase also incredibly well. So the fact that Diaz is not really getting any character development really scares me to how this season will go with him. And it seems like the only character development now is that he's hooking up with Laurel, which I feel is a little out of left field. Laurel herself is just flip-flopping between teams. She's got to decide. What I'm hoping it's happening here is that Oliver and Laurel are secretly working together to infiltrate Diaz's organization, and Laurel's is behind everyone's backs except for Oliver's doing this thing. But I don't think that's true. I think it's just Laurel just doesn't know how to decide what side she's on. First she's on the side of bad, and then good, and then bad, and then good. It's really annoying how she's just flip-flopping here and there. And I just want her to stay on one side. I'd prefer it if she stayed on the side of good. I really want her to join the team at this point, because obviously there's room on the team for anyone at this point. So the fact that she's with Diaz is really out of left field. Doesn't really make any sense. It makes sense for the character, but the fact that she went to the good and then to bad, I don't really like her flip-flopping. But Diaz also, his inclusion in the episode didn't really mean much. He didn't get any character development, which sucks. His plans didn't get any development. But that's really the only thing that bothered me about the episode. Diaz's inclusion in the episode wasn't great. And also Black Siren just didn't know what she was doing, really. She's working for Diaz. She's hooking up with him. It's out of left field. But the main plot of the episode with Diggle and Oliver actually turned out really well. The setup for the argument was great, in my opinion. I thought it was set up pretty well in the last episode. And then in my trailer breakdown for this episode, I said that I don't think I changed my mind, because the trailer makes it seem that Diggle's only focusing on the suit, and that is it. But it turns out that this episode actually flipped that around again, so that it actually was set up well in the last episode and in this episode. And then the argument between Oliver and Diggle was actually pretty climactic and really well acted by both actors, and emotional and personal. And then the fight between them, even though it wasn't the most well choreographed fight scene, just the fact that these two characters were punching each other, every punch meant a lot. So the fight scene was also done really well. It was just a little short. So I think that plot was great. It's just that Diaz wasn't that great himself. So I'll give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. Let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter for daily polls on the Arrowverse, or just to get better notifications from YouTube, just because it's not working. Twitter is better at this, because it automatically updates for every video I upload. Or if you don't have Twitter, you don't want to follow me or whatever, click the notification icon for better notifications, because like I said multiple times, YouTube is not working. And thanks for watching.